step to him.
She said, my name is Fred Massey. I'm a technotard. That's why this is not working well. Plus the fact that I have, I'm cheap. I have an iPad #1. If it was better, my iPad would put them on my picture. That's why we're behind. I am a GYN oncologist. I went to Harding College in Searcy, Arkansas for my undergraduate. I went to University of Tennessee for medical school. I graduated in 1962. Most of y'all were not even a twinkle in your mama's ovary at that time. I spent about a year and a half in New Mexico doing OBGYN. Then I did my OBGYN residency at Wilford Hall at Lackland Air Force Base. Then my fellowship, GYN Oncology Fellowship at MD Anderson Hospital in Houston, Texas. I spent 20 years in the Air Force, most of which was at Wilford Hall. For a period of time, I was the only GYN oncologist in the Air Force. I had a patient who did assignments, and she kept me at Wilford Hall so I could do her pap smears. I graduated from the Air Force in 1981, and then I spent 29 years in private practice here in San Antonio. My office was right up the street on Ewing Hosel. Actually, I spent a couple of 3 years working in the medical school here when I first went into private practice. I have just a few points that I'd like to make, and then I'll show you some pictures of mission trips that I have taken. Hopefully everybody's fairly close to being through because there's a little blood and guts. The first thing is, let me say, how many are medical students? Okay, how many are dental students? Okay. Good thing we're not fighting. How many are homeless and just here for pizza? Okay. If you're going to be a healthcare professional, I think you should honestly look at your motivation for being a healthcare professional. My advice is that if your motivation is just to make money, I suggest you drop out now and be a petroleum engineer or something like that. If that's your aim, and you're going to be a doc, you're going to be a lousy doc. I don't know about dentists, but I would suspect that the same thing would relate to them. My advice is that you have the attitude is that I'm going to serve my patients the best I can and never do anything on the basis of money. I made one exception to that, and that is that you can't buy your patients chemotherapy. If you're an oncologist, you'll find that out right away. But make decisions what's best for your patients, and never make a decision based on money. And the money will take care of itself. I don't know about Obamacare now, but in the past at least, if you did what's right for the patient, then the money will take care of itself. Your aim should be to be a servant. You know, in Matthew the 20th chapter, James and John's mother came to Jesus and said, you know, when you come to your kingdom, I want my son one to be on the right and one to be on the left. And it made the other disciples upset, and they were bad-mouthing James and John. Jesus said, if you want to be great, you need to be a servant. So if you can remember that in your career, if you want to be great, you want to be a servant. The second thing I'd like to say is that you need to look for ways to share your faith. You can share your faith without being obnoxious. If you're obnoxious in sharing your faith, it's not effective in the first place. The minister at our congregation had some little pamphlets. It says, how can a person be saved? I just put these in my waiting room. Hundreds, maybe thousands of these were picked up by my patients. I had one patient who said, can I take some of those and put them in my neighborhood? And I said, absolutely not. Those, no, I just take all you want. And this, I made just a little statement. Obviously, I'm concerned about your physical welfare, but I'm also concerned about your spiritual welfare. So I didn't bring enough for everybody. I thought it was going to be a cozy little group. But Northwest Church of Christ, you could get copies of these, and when you get an office, you can just put them in your office, and people will take them, not quite so like donuts, but they'll take them. Another good way to share your faith is mission trips. I hear a mission trip to Del Rio. What do y'all pull teeth down there? That's really good. Our congregation has gone to Mexico many years until this past year because of the problem with safety there. And the number one guy on our team was a dentist. I didn't have much. I wasn't very popular. But the dentist was very popular. And there was some funny things relating to mission trips like that. One time we were in the Yucatan, and I somehow got off busy and late getting away, packing and that kind of stuff. I didn't have any gloves, and you're going to need to do that. Didn't have any gloves, and I didn't have any jelly. So I looked around, and I found some little plastic baggies. I could use that for a vaginal exam. It's kind of hard for a rectal exam. And since I didn't have any jelly, I used my wife's smelly lotion. And there were a lot of good smelling Mexican women. Mission trips are a good way to share your faith. I didn't think it was that bad. I wore some old shoes down there, and they wore out down in the Yucatan, and I was looking for some shoes, and everywhere I'd go, they would look at my feet and say, muy grande. Number 3 is you need to avoid debt like the plague. How many of you have borrowed money to go to school? Ooh, doggies. Sorry. Debt is going to be a millstone around your neck. Do you have time in the summer to work? You don't have time in the summer to work. Well, you have time to work while you're in school. There was a song in the 60s, 50s or 60s that I used to sing to my kids. Yip, 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 boom, 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 get a job. Y'all probably never heard that song. That'd be a good one to learn once you have children. The other thing I would say in relation to that, you've been probably most of you have been struggling financially. You borrow money, you come to places like this to eat pizza. When you get out of school and you start making some money, you need to at least initially be very cautious. Don't go buy a new car and a new house. How many are married? Okay, don't divorce. That's the most financially disastrous thing that can happen to you. But be very careful, be very cautious, and pay your debts before you start buying stuff. I promise you, you'll be a lot happier. If you have a credit card, how many have credit cards? Ooh, doggies. You need to pay your credit card each month so that they don't charge you interest. If you have credit cards, you're probably paying 18 or 20% interest unless you have funky cards of some kind. And sometimes you just never catch up with your credit card. I have a friend who's a surgical nurse. She worked with me many years at Methodist. She got in a tight, her husband lost a job, and she went to payday loans. Don't ever go to payday loans. She was paying $400 a month, and after several months she called me and said, look, can you loan me $5,000 because I've been paying $400 a month, and she owed more than when she borrowed the money in the first place. Stay away from payday loans. Pay your credit card each month. The other thing I would suggest is now, even while you don't have much money, develop the grace of giving. Sometime, at some point, you're going to have resources where you can be a great giver. If you read through the book of Proverbs, notice the number of times that it says, if you give or if you feed somebody, that God will bless you. I think it's a principle myself, that if you give, God will bless you in a physical way. Certainly He will bless you in other ways other than money and physical, and that should not be the purpose of your giving, but I think God will give you. In Luke, I think it's about the 6th chapter, says, give and it will be given to you. Pushed down, shaken together, and running over if you give. In 2 Corinthians, it talks, there's a couple of chapters, 8 and 9, that talk about giving. One is that if you sow sparingly, you will reap sparingly. If you give abundantly, you will reap abundantly. And it talked about the Macedonians. It said that the Macedonians gave beyond their capability of giving. First, because they gave themselves to God. That's principle number one. Give yourself to God. Secondly, that the picture of the Christian giving is that the Christian decides what to give. God provides what you have to give, then you give it, and the purpose is to bring glory to God. That's the primary purpose of giving, is to bring glory to God. In actual fact, that should be our primary goal in life, is to bring glory to God. Okay, well, I have some pictures. Can you turn the lights down? I need the lights down in case things are bad, I can sneak out. This is working? Yeah. Okay, I've had the capability of the blessing of going to Africa a good many times. In February, I go to Ghana. 8 weeks ago, I had my right hip replaced, so I had to miss the February trip this year. In June and September, I go to Kenya, and I've been to Nigeria 8 different times. This is a picture of Yendi in Ghana. You see the Church of Christ Mission Clinic, Yendi. The fellow there actually is not a doctor, but he is like a nurse practitioner that would be in the States. But he has done it so many times that when I went there, what I did was just sit behind him and learn before I started seeing patients. The one advantage, if you're a doc, is you'll see things there you'll never see again. How many people have treated malaria? Ooh, you treat everybody for malaria. You see people who have, shucks, I have Alzheimer's. When your fingers and toes go away. Say again? Leprosy. Leprosy, yeah. a lot of pneumonia. So you see things that you never see again. Oh, one other thing about this, 85% of the people who we see in this clinic are Muslim. And every morning we have a devotional before the clinic, and they were singing, and this song they were just singing like crazy. And I recognize that song. It was "What a Friend We Have in Jesus," and 85% of them are Muslim. Next. Actually, these are the houses we live in, so it's a fairly comfortable place to live. It's hot there. Before I went, the guy said, "It's hot in Yendi." I said, "I live in San Antonio. Don't sweat it." This is the local 7-Eleven. That's where the patients go out and they get a snack. If you see, that tree behind has thousands of mangoes. That's another advantage of going to Africa. They got great mangoes and stuff like that. Next. For some reason, in Ghana, they burn the land. I've asked them why they burn the land. Some of them say it's because it makes the crops better. I doubt it. That's the reason. The main reason is that they burn the land and the animals come out, and then they catch them or shoot them. But there are a lot of burns. The first hour or two each morning, we have a wound clinic in which we treat these wounds. Next. One thing we do is we go out in the villages for a mobile clinic. There are children everywhere. They don't have television. Next. This is our clinic out in the bush. That's a pharmacy right there. You can see the drugs. You see the goats in our clinic. You have to get used to the animals. Next. The kids are everywhere. This is a lady with a stick. Her job is to run them out. This is part of the compound there in the bush where we go to the clinic. These young boys took me around for to look at their village. It's quite a big village. When I got through, they said, "Camera." And I said, "You want me to take your picture?" They said, "No, we want your camera." The church is very strong in Yendi. This building, this man right here, sorry. When he was in the 12th grade, his family moved to this place. This is Massey. And this church is about 1,300 people. Next. This is the Ghana lawnmower. He's cutting the grass with a machete. We asked him, "Why don't you get a lawnmower?" He said, "I wouldn't have a job." If he just cuts the grass with a machete, he's got a full-time job. Mango tree. Next. This is a couple of young people who went to the mobile clinic in Kumasi. Yendi's in the north, and Kumasi's in the south. Yendi is dry, Massey is rainforest. So it's really a good experience for mission trips. Next. This is a pharmacy. Unfortunately, that lady there on the left was electrocuted. She was taking a shower and slipped and grabbed a wire and electrocuted it. The man on the right name is Kwame. And in the clinic, there was Kwame here, Kwame there. And I said, "Why are there so many Kwames?" I came to find out that everybody born on Friday is named Kwame. That's a redneck and seeing patients. Next. This is a picture of one of the nurses there. The American has organized this. This is in Malindi, Kenya. This is a nurse in the operating room there. Her name is Barkay, a beautiful girl. They're covered. She has a thing that covers her arm. And her daddy is the CEO of this hospital. We operate in a private Muslim hospital. and they go out in the bush and they bring people in who can't afford medical care, and we operate on them. I got good friends with Marquet, and I said, would you ask your daddy, could I see your hair? This is one of the young man that helps me operate in Melindy. You can see the operating room. In Melindy, the operating room is uptown. Next. This is a church building in the bush where we go to church. As you can see, it's air conditioned. Next. That's the bathroom there. It's really an outhouse. Tall guys are in trouble. This is a redneck operating. Next. Now, this is Nigeria. I've been to Nigeria 8 different times. Those of you who might have gone to MacArthur Park know Bob Whitaker. He was from Wales. He spent 22 years in the clinic, the hospital there in Nigeria. He was kidnapped and shot in the arm. That doctor over on the other side recently was kidnapped. So it's kind of dangerous to go to Nigeria. Man, if you could go to Nigeria, it would change your life. To see what people of the world really live like. I don't care what you have. If you have lights, a roof over your head, clean water, and electricity, you're in the top 10% of the world's population. And so many, the electricity goes off all the time there. In the operating room, sometimes they operate with a flashlight. Next. This doctor right there is my friend, Dr. Mezareki. One of the good things that I did was to help train him. He's now board certified OBGYN doc. That is a picture of fibroid tumors of the uterus that we're fixing to take out. Even in this country, 25% of the people have fibroid tumors of the uterus, which are benign tumors. They're more common in black people. So in Africa, so many have fibroid tumors. Next. That's a little hazy, but one lady we took out 68 fibroids from her tumor. They don't want you to do a hysterectomy because if you do a hysterectomy, your husband kicks them out. And then they're out on the street. Next. More fibroid tumors. Next. That's not genitalia. That's a hernia. And for some reason, so many Nigerians have hernias, bilateral hernias, men and women. And I'll tell you one more story. There was a man who had a hernia, and the witch doctors, the witch doctors do more harm than anything. Took a stick, what they do is they take a stick and put it in the hernia. So what he did was develop a fistula through his scrotum. The scrotum was about like that. So I resected, made an incision, resected the fistula, and drained the hernia. He said he was so thankful. He said, next year when you come back, I'll come see you. But he didn't make it, so he may have had another witch doctor visit. Next. The medical students, if this lady's not pregnant, what does she have? Huh? Yeah, ovarian cancer. Ascites with ovarian cancer. And you know, it's a weird thing. In America, you see the same thing. 75 or 80% of the people are stage 3 or 4 when they come to me. Because it comes on slowly. You know about the old frog being cooked. It comes on slowly, and they just think, I'm getting fat. So that's a common problem here as well as there. Next. That's the ovarian cancer that we're about to take out. She had, I think she had 9 liters of ascites. Next. This is a young lady with obviously a prolapsed uterus. With a problem like this, their husbands will kick them out. So you can't do a hysterectomy or they kick them out. There's an operation where when a lady has had a hysterectomy, if their vagina falls out, you take a piece of Marlex and sew it to the sacrum, and it holds the vagina in. I thought, well, why can't we do that? So what we did to this young lady next is we took a piece of Marlex, suspended her uterus, and sewed her cervix to the sacrum, and you can see now her husband will keep her. I apologize if that offends you. Next. Oh, that's the ovarian cancer. Next.
No.
That's a big fibroid. Next. And that's a redneck who made it through another trip and didn't get kidnapped. So I'll be around if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
We actually have about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Massey?
If anybody would like a copy of this, you're welcome.
Okay, he'll be available. Oh, and pizza's still here to take with you when you go.
Did we just email this?
I don't want to eat. Gotta get a hold of it. You better get walking, dude. My truck's far away.
But it was like straight uphill and neither could sprint it. You knew? Becky came back.
They live in the Delta.
Oh my goodness.
Kelly wanted one.
No, I think it's one.
Are you going next weekend?
Thank you. God bless. Where's your name?
Kelly said he's coming again.
You like Coach? You know, the
You can't return his into you, right?
Just send me an email.
Okay. All right. We did good.
That's great.
Get on there. Shelly does that on my phone every once in a while. Look at pictures. Yeah, all right.
So I'm going to grab you. I was painting on.
Okay. We can go ahead and roll this stuff out. Maybe it's not. Cheryl and I will go ahead
How are you?
Hi, good. I didn't. I was shadowing my preceptor, so yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Wow.
Alright, I gotta get out of here.
Okay, so here's my invitation. We usually go around and make sure all the tables are white. So get a couple of napkins.